Fellas, what's good? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. How y'all feeling out there?
Peace. What's going on?
Peace, peace, peace. And you guys take it real quick. I'm about to get in and try to push the show out because the notification not going out from YouTube. So you guys take it real quick. Let me try to get behind the scenes real fast, fellas. I'm sorry.
Okay. No,
Good, no
it's
doubt.
definitely your fault. AG, what's good?
Chilling, man. College football game day. Got the alma mater on Marshall. You know what I'm saying? We playing Stony Brook here at 5 o'clock. Stony Brook, New York. So it'll be a time where West Virginia takes down New York. So
That'll be the only time that happens, AG.
tell Sean that when he hops back on.
Make sure you click like and subscribe to the page, everybody. We're growing daily, but we could grow some more. Pause.
Starting out crazy. But now what you been into, man?
Usual motion. Nothing special over here. Went to the my daughter's high school football game on Friday. Yeah, they're not that good.
It's just the first game, man. So give them time.
It's like the third game down here.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we're in GA, baby. But unfortunately, we have to start off today with some bad news because Fatman Scoop has passed away at 53 years old. Thoughts and prayers go to his family for their loss. We're losing another person from the hip hop and entertainment world in that time gap that we keep talking about, AG, where we're having these health conversations. A time frame that we're not that far removed from ourselves.
Facts.
Which makes it all the more frightening, So, What are your thoughts on Fatman Scoop, his passing? Not just, I think one thing that's kind of happened is that mental health has taken over, and physical health has kind of taken a back seat. And I think there has to be a balance somewhere. And so, just tell me your thoughts on all those things, and talk about Fatman Scoop for a second.
It was sad to hear the news, and a lot of the information coming out is still developing. I want to send prayers and thoughts to Scoop's family, and one of the most recognizable voices we've ever had in hip hop. You know what I mean? Just an individual that drove a lot of our energy through the years. We're all of the same age bracket, and you can remember, coming up and being on the club scene and hearing his voice push the energy on a lot of the major records that was being played during that time, so definitely a staple in the culture and just an all around dope individual, you know what I mean? Of course, I didn't know him personally, but you could just tell, from how he conducted himself, his interviews, he was just overall a dope human being, and he'll be missed for sure.
Sean, you have some thoughts about Fatman Scoop before I share?
It's sad, man. Very sad. One of the big dogs, man, on that Mount Rushmore of hype men. Maybe top five. For me, my personal top five hype men of all time. In that scene. Just one of the ones that just gave you that energy all the time. And unfortunately, the situation happened while he was on stage. Doing what he loved doing. That's the irony of all of this, right? And it happened last night, of course, in Connecticut. Peace to Connecticut. Shout out to Connecticut. And he actually ended up going to the hospital, never made it back out. But again, man, just very sad day in hip hop. The love that he's being shown right now from just everyone in hip hop, to me, is good, because that tells you how much he meant to the culture of hip hop and how much he meant to a lot of the artists out there who show love and respect to him. He's always been. I never met Fatman Scoop. We all came up in the era when Fatman Scoop was like the one you had to hear at the party, right, or at the club. You had to hear that voice. And he's one of those. Again, you got a few of them out there. He's one of those. So again, like AG said, much love, respect to Fatman Scoop. Rest in peace. Condolences to the family. Pray that they can get through the challenging times in their lives with his passing. And may his soul rest in peace.
I think we lost a really positive figure the other night. I think one of the things that's been lost in hip hop during certain eras has been the fun element of it. Rap is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have those elements of fun in hip hop. And I think as a DJ, as a hype man, and everything in between, Fat Man Scoop represented the better part of hip hop in terms of making sure that it was fun for everybody. And
Yeah.
so I think what he'll sorely be missed at is that like guys like him are kind of I wouldn't say that there's not a lot of them. Like there's not a lot of a Dougie Fresh anymore. Like who's today's Dougie Fresh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those types of guys are harder to come by in this era, in this generation. So when you lose somebody unexpectedly like that, and I'm just going to keep on stressing the health thing, Sean, AG, like, whatever it is, we just got too many brothers passing away in their late 40s, early 50s in hip hop. Sometimes I believe that it's a manifestation of the things that you say. Like, as much as I am a fan of Big and Pac, I really don't listen to a lot of their stuff the way that I used to because of the manifestation of a lot of the songs, because a lot of the songs are centered around death.
Mm.
And neither one of them are here. And so
Yeah.
I'm mindful of that. But Fat Man Scoop, that wasn't even his MO. So
Right.
makes me look at the overall health aspect of it again. This is the part that doesn't get talked about. When one of our own gets murdered, it's all over the news everywhere. One of us just dies of natural causes. It's like, okay, go ahead and sweep that one out. Like, this isn't going to get talked about on any major news outlet. So, we have to be the ones to push the positive message about what to do next with all these passings that it seems like we get. And I feel like we talk about this every other month, guys. And I feel like it's been going on pretty much since I've been in the podcast world, which is a little over 4 years now.
The frequency has definitely increased.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sad part about it, because these guys are young. Like you said, cool, 53 years old. That's a young age. You know what I'm saying? And things are happening like that.
I plan on being here like another 42, 43 years, like at least. That's what I'm saying. So for me, like 53 is young. Like I'm 42 now. I feel like I may have just hit the halfway point, like maybe.
Yeah. I'm 44, and it's like I'm always thinking like, man, I need to do something different to keep my body good. You know what I mean? Going to the gym all the time. Hey, I'm drinking watermelon and ginger and lemon right now. You know what I'm saying? From juicing this morning. But it's just trying to keep the body right, man, and try to keep the mental right as well, because it's a 50-50 thing. You got 50% mental, 50% body. You are what you consume. And like you said, but that's a powerful thing you said earlier, man, about just not listening to Biggie and Pac as much as you used to in your younger years, because you consume that energy through music. And those are trauma times. Those are trauma times when Big was talking about, ready to die and dying. And Pac was talking about getting shot and dying. And we didn't realize that because we were entertained by just the aura of these juggernauts of hip hop. But like you said, we were consuming that at a young age. You know what I mean? And that's a very good thing you said, man. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
I have to stay away from that kind of stuff.
Like Everyday Struggle to me is the top 3 to 5 Biggie song ever, in my opinion. But the way the hook goes, as much as I love that song, it's like, well, I don't want to go down the freeway like singing that, like
Right.
on the way to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just is what it is. It's part of like, growing up and removing yourself from those environments as well, and remembering that these guys passed away pretty much at 25. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Things are different. Like, what I mean? We're
different.
Yeah, things are different.
Different. CJ the Kid, can you get us, AG?
Yeah, shout out to CJ the Kid with the $5 super chat. He said, "Rest in peace, Fat Man Scoop. Please, everyone, take care of your mental and physical people. Feels like yesterday, Chino died, and now this. Yeah, that was just a few weeks ago. Right.
Just talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talked about this. We've been talking about this for a minute.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's fortunate. But again, we just want to kick off this show to pay homage to the legend. Man, it's crazy, man. But such is life, right? So where y'all want to go to next, man? Let's get off the heavy stuff. Let's get into some music review, shall we? Because we can talk about the Big Sean. We kind of waited for this one for a few weeks now. And
Yep.
we said we're going to come back here to talk about that. Do y'all want to go there?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm about to say, y'all want to talk about the smaller projects and then fade into the Sean, or
Do that. We can do that. Y'all get a listen to small other projects other than Sean?
AG, go ahead.
Yeah, y'all was talking about the Dolce album. I haven't had a chance to listen to that joint. You know, man, I've heard a couple tracks, like the first 2 tracks off of it, but I've been watching football all day, so I ain't gonna lie, I didn't tap into that. But you know, it seems to be getting a lot of traction in our Discord. You know what I mean? A lot of people saying it's like super dope. You know, so I plan on listening to it at some point. You know, today, checking that out.
I love it. I listened to it this morning in the gym. It's a dope project. I'm not gonna lie. And we'll talk about this when we get to the Sean joint. But I find myself listening to this more than I listen to the Sean joint. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like it's a blended album. If I'm thinking about Rhapsody, this has a little bit more bite to that Rhapsody album. If I'm being completely honest, the Rhapsody album is a very good feeling album. But this right here, for me, it took it to a different level. It jumped it up just a notch. Not saying that it's better than Rhapsody album. I still got to sit with it some more, but I felt like it gave it a little bit of punch the way she approached the mic on this joint, to be quite honest.
Sean, let me ask you something. Do you feel like that the Doechii album is an album of the year contender?
It's up there, cool. I'm not
Okay.
gonna
You thought super highly of it.
I do. It's up there. It's
Okay.
one of those things where I didn't want to be a prisoner of the moment because I thought the production was phenomenal. And I thought that just her bravado and her energy, and not only that, her confidence on the mic, I loved it. I'm not going front. I loved it. And the only reason I tapped into it because the Discord was talking about it like since Friday, since yesterday. I said, let me get into this Doechii and see what's going on. First song at the gate. Whew, okay. Second song, what sold me. The second song is what sold me. Bullfrog sold me. I was like, I'm here now. I'm gonna sit here for a little while. I'm gonna enjoy this. And I just played it straight through and went back and started playing the ones I love when my first straight through. Very entertaining. It kept me engaged. And I need an album to keep me engaged now, right? And that's the album. It kept me engaged. I'm not going to front.
So it's better than the Pete Rock and Common to you?
From an engagement perspective, yes. From an engagement,
From an overall perspective.
overall perspective, I still got to sit with it some more. It's hard to say that because that's just off me, getting into it my system earlier this morning. But engagement wise, I find myself being engaged more with this album off first listen that I did with the Pete Rock and Common joint.
Did either of you listen to AJ Snow's new project?
Listen to that
Haven't
too.
heard that one.
Listen to that one too.
What were your thoughts on that, Sean?
I thought it was another banger. I felt like that one kept me engaged as well. I felt entertained, right? And I say that for a reason because I'm thinking about the Common Project, which is a dope hip hop project, but I wasn't entertained. It didn't keep me.
I understand.
It didn't keep me there, right?
I understand.
I'm in the gym. Today was International Back Day. You know what I mean? So as I'm doing my lat moves, I needed to get that extra motivation. You know what I'm saying? And both of these joints gave me that extra motivation. I'm be honest with you. That AJ Snow, crazy. And then I played it right after I played the Doechii joint. And it felt like it was a perfect blend for a soundtrack for me. Just for me.
So if it's all right with you, I'm going to make a couple of comments on the Doechii and on the Snow, and then we can slide to the Sean. Fair?
Yes, please.
So I listened to the Doechii today, like recently, like just now. I was pretty impressed. Not gonna lie. When you talk about the entertainment value, Sean, I do understand exactly what you're saying because I'm not sure if it's better. I probably need to listen some more like you, but I'm damn sure I'm entertained more.
Yes.
I find myself more interested in what's going on.
Yes.
I feel you. I'm up. I'm moving. I'm nodding my head. I'm listening. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, bet. And so, that Common Pete Rock album is kind of like, you know, it's like when somebody goes and gets 20 points and 10 rebounds, but they don't really impact the game at all. You know, it's like it is.
Empty
It's every
calories.
game like that.
Empty calories.
Yeah, it's like no. I see your numbers. I just didn't see you when I needed you.
That's, I had to put the hat on for that one.
Man,
That's
it
crazy.
looked like the hat from Coming to America. Oh,
Strike
Prince,
one. Strike one.
Monday.
Strike one. We at the bat. I needed that.
Yeah, y'all wow.
No, but you're right.
But so I could see. I'm gonna listen again. I definitely felt like I heard a top 10-ish rap album this year when I listened to the Dolce. Maybe top 5-ish, depending on the things that you value. It's gonna come down to like what your value system is set up like. How about this? I felt like there was more replay factor on the Dolce.
Exactly.
More replay factor on the Dolce. As for the Snow, you want to know what I thought of? I enjoyed the project too. I think it's Cuban Cigar and Cabernet and Adelaide. Those are bangers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are bangers. Jansport J got busy. Snow got busy. I say this in the most complimentary way because I think this is the first time I've really ever like gotten to say this like fully. He sounds like Too Short a lot of the time to me, and I love it.
Mm. In what way? As far as just swagger or just the draw?
Yeah, swagger, draw, cadence, approach, mentality. Like, you know, people look at like all the like, you know, what's my favorite word and all that like type of stuff that Short did. But if you ever like dug into any of Short's albums, Short was more of a like a real like life game spitter, like very much like a Pimp C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, in a lot of ways. So I hear a lot of that like just real life like game spit talk when I hear AJ Snow, which reminds me of Short.
Yeah.
And I do hear some like inflections and draws and approaches like in terms of like the pattern of his flows. Like how he sets his delivery up and punches with it. It does remind me of Short, but I mean all of these in good ways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yo, Mad Max is bugging, man.
Okay,
you got a couple super
nobody
chats.
asked Mad Max.
Mad Max with $2 super chat. He said at best Big Sean was 3.5 mics. To me, it was whack. Wow.
Okay. First of all, Mad Max, nobody asked you.
Mad Max spit in the block with the $10 super chat. Appreciate it. Said laugh out loud. Dochi joint was whack on the track. She did boom bap, cat boom bap, and she made some noises. Then did a fart sound, and she was babbling, bro.
This dude is crazy, man.
Mad Max is a wild boy, man.
Nothing impresses Mad Max.
Mad Max. It's like it's Saturday afternoon. Aren't you supposed to be like, you know, mowing your mother's lawn or like washing some windows or something like that? Aren't you supposed to be doing something, young man? Don't you have a side job while you're in high school still?
Yo, CJ the Kid with the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. So many people shot through the whole Common Pete album. Went from album of the year to not even top 5 within months. He basically said fell from top 5 to not mention it all.
I was hoping you wasn't going to quote that, AG. It's gracious, man.
Yo, Dot with the $2 super chat. Big Sean gonna get hate, but I don't care. He delivered. I agree.
So are we ready to talk about it?
Might as well.
Sure.
Might as well. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's just have a conversation about it. Let's have an adult conversation about it. I think that's what's needed here. I think we have to have an adult conversation.
Well, I'm glad that you use those words, Sean, because I find it to be a very adult album, which is why I think it's getting some of the subpar reviews that it's getting from some people. You actually learn more about Big Sean on this album than almost all the other albums combined. He really actually lets you inside of his life. My takeaway just overall in terms of my comprehension, my digestion of the album is that the birth of his child has changed his perspective. And I think it's made him realize his mortality more and his habits more. And, you know, remember when I was talking about the 20 points and 10 rebounds and empty calories? I realized something with this album. part of the reason why Kendrick looms so large in this space is because from his first real like major release album, Good Kid, Mad City, you know who he is, and what he's doing, and where he's from. It's all very, very clear from the jump. And I think when you find out too late, it's satisfying, but not as satisfying as it should be. And I think a lot of this album is not as satisfying as it should be because of that. Because it's like, hey, like you could have done some of this shit like, you know, a whole lot sooner. You know? But that doesn't mean that there's not good stuff on here. I think it's getting some beats, rhymes, and life treatment. Like remember when Tribe dropped Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and it's like, what happened to all the fun? And it's like, well, they're like almost 30 now. They're not like horny little 22-year-olds anymore. Like, you know, 7, 8 years have passed, you know? People are different. And so sometimes, and this is what I mean about getting the ludicrous treatment, because this is what I was scared would happen, is that when you try to offer people more perspective into who you are, sometimes they actually reject that depending on who you are.
Right.
And so we'll see how this goes, but I thought it was a solid project. We can dig more into like the details of the things that he's doing, but I want to kind of give you guys a chance to give like a synopsis of your overall thoughts, and then we can like dig into the nuances a little bit further after that.
No doubt. AJ, you want to go? You want me to?
You go ahead, Sean.
I don't think solid is enough, honestly, because we talked about this. He's talked about it. He's talked about being outside of that big three, right? He made that a point. And I don't want to make my point around the big three or whatever. I don't want to bring those guys into it. I want to put the focus on him. But he needed to come. This album was supposed to be the one, because of all the talk around it, all of the noise around it, everything leading up to it. The interviews were great. The rollout was pretty solid. We know what he can do. And this was a time for him to show that he belongs in those conversations. And I don't know if this album changes where he was before the album came out. I don't know if it put him up higher or if it put him down. I think he's kept him flat, in my opinion. Is the album solid? Absolutely, like Coop said. But we needed more than solid from Big Sean this go around. This was the one. This is the time. This is definitely the time. So I don't know. What do you think, AG? Am I stretching this a little bit too much, or am I off base here? What you think?
Nah, your critique is fair, and I think Coop had a lot of valid points as well. You know, kind of bringing it full circle on what you guys talked about earlier. And you know, to Coop's point, I think that this is probably one of his most personal albums, and we were asking to find out more about him as a person, and I think he delivered in that regard. And he shows a lot of versatility on this album. I personally love the project. I think the project is his best. I mean, we use the word solid to describe the project. I mean, he has a lot of solid joints. You know what I mean? I Decided, Detroit 2, Hall of Fame. They're all like solid projects, but I think this one, I agree with you, Sean. It didn't move the needle for him as an artist, but I think he delivered probably his best full body of work in this project. And I think it was, really versatile. And y'all talked about the engagement, the excitement of it. I don't think this is the album of the year, but like you were saying, Sean, listening to the Doechii, I wouldn't put this over to Rhapsody or the Common and Pete Rock, but I felt like it brought more excitement than both of those two albums.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean, you also brought up the big three, but that you didn't want to go down that road, but I'm going to take it there. Kendrick hasn't, outside of the distance, Kendrick hadn't dropped nothing recently, but if we're going by recent works, For All the Dogs last year, Might Delete Later this year, I think the Sean album is better than both of those. Like, hands down.
You said it's better than Might Delete?
Yeah, I think so. Like, not even, taking points off of Cole for the whole apology thing.
It might be put together better, but I don't know for certain if it's better yet.
I feel like it's better.
It might be.
I mean, clearly I was slipping on the other two projects because I didn't listen to those, but I ran this Sean album back about 4 times. And I think it's really good work. And, he suffered from the leak situation that happened like a month ago, and he wasn't capping. A lot of that ended up not making the final cut. I was kind of disappointed the song "Poor Sportsmanship" with Nas didn't make the cut. He did say on Twitter, somebody put it in the Discord that he couldn't get the record cleared with Nas, but he might try to put it out on some kind of other edition if he can, get it cleared. But I personally think that the record is strong enough that he didn't need that on here. I'd still like to have it, you know what I mean? But I think the record is solid without it. I mean, it's bangers on here, like as far as the beats, like the production is crazy. Sean spitting, and he give us some introspective song. Like, for instance, behind the scenes, Sean, you told me your favorite joint was Apologize. And a lot of people who heard that early thought it was about Kanye, but if y'all remember back to the interview he did with Charlemagne, he said that was like a amalgamation of, 3 different people in his life that he put together to sound like one person, for the song. But that's a really strong record. If we're asking for somebody to get more personal, more introspective and stuff, to me a song like that delivers. The joint that he has, it's my personal favorite, Who You Are. That's my favorite on the whole album, where he samples the Superstar, beat and sped up, you know what I'm saying? Got the 808s in there, crazy, and he's spitting dope on there. Break the Cycle, Smooth Charlie Wilson feature, dope. You know what I'm saying? It's so many joints on here, man.
So I'm going to disagree with you and push back some with you, AG, slightly. Only because I feel like the album is very versatile, but sometimes it's a mixed bag of results. Like sometimes he's just sticking the landing. He's not really wowing you or awing you or really doing anything new. It is good to hear him in his versatility bag, because it kind of does remind you. It's like, Sean's really dope on the mic, and he can do a lot of different things, flow wise, voice wise, cadence wise. Like he checks a lot of the boxes, and he definitely has let you inside of his world more. But I think part of the problem is that if this is his ceiling, then more than anything else, he's just gonna remain like outside of that big 3. Like, to keep it with the basketball analogy, it's like, James Harden is deteriorating more than Curry and Durant and LeBron, because he was kind of like the one that was kind of like out partying and chilling, having a good old time, still having a good old time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think Sean's also been, doing a lot of chilling. You know what I'm saying? And even when you listen to the interludes on the album, he's kind of letting you know that he's transitioning out of that phase. But I think that's probably what's hurt him the most. He just hadn't been in the gym enough. That's the main thing. He's not as sharp as his contemporaries, because he hasn't worked and dropped as consistently as his contemporaries and played that part of the game. Like, he's played the star part of the game, but he hasn't played, like,
I think Kawhi would be a better comparison, because like a lot of people would say Kawhi is just as good as like Bron or KD or Steph if he's on the court. But he's hardly ever on the court. You know what I'm saying?
I never believed that.
A lot of the factions do, but to me that strikes me as Sean, because Kawhi is somebody who people call uninteresting, not marketable. And we, a lot of people say the same thing about Sean, like he's not as interesting to be in the big 3, and then he's not putting out enough work. And I don't say that with no disrespect, but when you say he's not sticking the landing, what are you particularly referring to? You referring to the song making, the lyrical ability, how he's flowing, like what in particular? Because that's a blanket statement. Like what specific boxes he leaving unchecked?
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. He's sticking the landing. I'm saying like he's checking the box. It's about how we're grading the marks for that landing. So like on a scale of 1 to 10, I kind of feel like this is like most of the records are like 7, 7.5, 8. Like I don't really hear any 10s. I like the track with Gunna a lot.
So yeah, Gunna had a dope feature. So you're saying there's no wow factor there?
Yeah, it's the macro and the micro of what the issue is that even when he lets you into his world, even though you can relate a little bit more and understand, you're still not as entertained or entranced or as enthralled as you are with some of his contemporaries.
Mhm.
And
Was this
I think
more entertaining than the Rhapsody to you? Because I think the Rhapsody, she really let you into her world, but to me, this was a more entertaining album as far as the ride from the first track to the last track.
this track definitely has more like, put in your car and like ride to it than the Rhapsody, if that's what you're talking about. Absolutely. It absolutely has that. I think, Styles Make Fights has always,
Mhm.
and those are just two different stylistic approaches to making an album because of the artist making the album. I
Mhm.
do think that Sean did have some moments on here. It's a good mic performance. It's a really good mic performance. He's dope on here. He's agile. I just think the results of some of the scores varies. It's like some of these records are 6s and some of these records are 8.5s, but it's mostly a bunch of 7s and 8s, and that'll kind of,
Yeah.
you'll end up in you do 7s or 8s in the Olympics, like, what I'm saying, you're usually gonna end up somewhere like 4th and 5th place. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't think you can question his lyrical ability or his rapping ability. I don't think that's the question. I don't even think it's a question of him not being conditioned because of not really, being out there like his contemporaries. Because look at K Dot. K Dot
Hold on.
he's taking breaks, but he still come back and do what he do.
Not
Right.
Mhm.
so. Sometimes, like, do you think Kendrick is more talented than Big Sean, just artistically speaking? Like,
Yeah,
just like,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
okay, so he can afford to do stuff like that.
He can. He
Yeah.
can.
I
I
didn't
sometimes
hear that second question, Coop. What'd you say? It was breaking up a little bit.
no. Say what now?
I can hear you now. You was breaking up a little bit after you asked the question. Was he as talented as Kendrick? I didn't hear what you said after that.
Well, that's Kendrick can afford to take breaks because he's that type of talent. Sometimes you have to like really like work on your craft to become like that level of great. Like some people have it and work at it. That's why Mike and Kobe are so special. Some people have it and don't work at it like they should. Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace is just as talented as Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan.
He can
But
afford to, but you still don't cut him no slack on it. Like,
You
let's
really
be
don't.
real.
Really don't. Really. Like that's your that's your main sticking point. Coop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, super chat real quick.
call it what you want to call it.
I mean, both things could be true, I guess. Like Mad Max with the $10 super chat. The content ain't the problem. It's boring vocals, super weak. Sean's voice is so weak. I do think his voice is not good. On it, it's sad that this album sounds like some KD series college dropout projects with no hit records. Yo, Mad Max is wild, man.
He's out of control, man.
Dot with the $2 super chat. Big Sean gonna get hate, but I don't care. He delivered. I think we read that one earlier. I'm in agreements with that chat.
But what
He
did he
said
deliver
Sean
in that?
album better than the big three last albums. That's how I feel. I feel like this is better than Mr. Morale. I feel like it's better than Might Delete Later, and better than For All the Dogs. Like
It's definitely better than For All the Dogs and Mr. Morale. It's definitely better than those.
Did you run the album more than once?
Yes, I've run the album twice.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, about twice, 2 or 3 times. The first time I ran it straight through. Second time I went to what I really liked. Third time I kind of did the same. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I might be, by myself on this one, but I'm impressed with it. He released I released Boundaries. Boundaries was a fire track. It was personal.
AG, how impressed would you be when they really didn't move anything though? Like I'm asking you as a fan. Okay, so the only thing really left for him is Glory. So is this
Okay, I think the thing is,
well, hold on. Is this an album that reflects him going for glory, or is this just the peak of what he can do at this stage in his career? I'm just asking.
I'm good. I'm good about like tempering expectations for what I know people to be, right? So for me, like I feel like he met my expectations, but did he exceed them? No, because sometimes you'll listen to an album and you have a certain level of expectation, then you're blown away. Like, yo, I did not see this being this great. He didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep it real, but I'm really good personally for, knowing where the ceiling is for certain artists. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are expecting to be wild all the time, and they just not. And I can enjoy something for what it is because my expectations are appropriate for what they should be. You know what I mean? So
I do feel I do feel like this album was well put together.
yeah,
I do like the organization. I do like the organization, structure, and flow of the songs, and I'm pretty big on that. I think I might be a little bit more into the details of an album coming together in terms of sequencing and structure than maybe most people in this space, and I was impressed with that part of it. The production overall was really good. I don't think it was great. The rhymes were really dope. Like, it's a good project, but that's all it is. And
it was a lot of tracks though. Do you think it could have been better trimmed down?
I thought he did an impressive job of keeping it like barely over an hour with the number of tracks that are on there. I did find that to be impressive, but that it was a lot of songs, and there were some records I felt like could have did without. And I think that always happens when you have an album this long, and 9 times out of 10.
I'll get to super chat real quick. Then I got something to say to that. CJ the Kid with the $2 super chat says, "Damn, so Sean suffered a I Am style leak. He did suffer a leak, but it wasn't as detrimental as the I Am leak was in the grand scheme of things." But to your point, Coop, it is some tracks on here that might be 6 or 7 level, but I don't think it's no like clear skips on this album. I think even the lower tier records are enjoyable.
No. See, that's where I don't agree with you, because I think that there are certain records on here that people like me are going to skip over, and there are certain records that ladies are going to skip over. I do believe that. I think that.
I mean, do you know them off the top of your head, like any in particular?
No, not off the top of my head right now, to be honest with you, because both times listening to it, I really didn't have like the track list available to me while I was listening, so I'm not familiar with the song titles as much.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to express is the fact that Sean. I mean, first of all, the voice thing is it's hard to call it an issue when you've made it as far as he has. It's one of those things that kind of is a separating moment, is when you have that great rap voice that people love.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. I think production wise, I didn't personally love these beats and the production like that, but I felt like, and this is what I mean about it being put together well, I feel like they constructed beats and he picked beats that fit his voice best though.
That's fair. You gotta
Yeah, you got to work with what you got. So I feel like he worked with what he had very well, and I was impressed with that. But this album just doesn't, it doesn't.
He's not doing enough to overcome the voice issue.
I'm glad you said it like that, Sean, because I actually think Kendrick has a worse rap voice than Sean. Neither one of them have a good rap voice, but I think Kendrick's is worse. But he does so much more to make up that ground that Sean doesn't do.
Right.
With his creativity, his lyricism, his concepts, his flows, like
bravado. I mean, he's created this bravado of the boogeyman, right? And this lore that he had. There's something attached to his voice that you can't even trace to his voice. There's a lore behind him. There's a
he does more with it than Sean can.
He does way more with it because he can fluctuate his voice. He can go in different chambers with his voice.
Okay, so that's practice though.
Yes,
that's practice. That's what I'm talking about. Like that vocal conversation that you all are having right now is really about practice. Kendrick,
not a game. We talk about practice.
Not a game. We talk
about
practice.
Want to do it though, cool. You gotta want to do it.
I think that's been the thing that he's kind of admitting to with this album, with this perspective of his like, I was maybe kicking it when I should have been in the studio, like working on my craft more.
Indeed. But I'm torn by that. Let's get the super chat real quick.
Dot with the $2 super chat said Sean surpassed Kanye. That's all I know. I don't think anybody's out here really debating if Sean's a better MC than Kanye. I think that's a known thing. I think that's common sense.
Oh, excuse me. What's a common sense?
It's common sense that Sean surpassed Kanye.
Sean's a better.
Not in his catalog. He's nowhere close to that. But just far like as a rapper, like rapping ability.
I don't think he's better than Kanye as a rapper.
No, I don't think he's better. Better if Kanye writer.
That's what I'm saying. But Kanye wasn't writing all this stuff though.
I mean,
You got an ass that'll swallow up a G-string and up top, too.
But even if you're not referring to Kanye in his prime, in 2024, Sean's the better rapper.
Oh yes, now, right now.
Rapper, yes.
I thought you meant like period. Like
yeah, better.
No, I don't think you could say that period. But in 2024, that's like pretty clear.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
He's way better than Kanye at this point.
Argument. I just want to make sure
we don't know what the hell's going on at this
But
point.
when Kanye was like, in his prime, if you can call that his prime, and they were rapping side by side, that was interesting. That was dope times.
It was interesting, but Kanye is such a scene stealer, even from Jay. So
absolutely, yeah. He Watch the Throne was his album. I feel like
yes, because of the bravado. It's because of the way he projected. It's the delivery. It's all of those things. Kanye has such a confidence that it hides the other things.
Yeah,
right?
I'm about to say, well, you know what? Kanye doesn't have a great rap voice either, guys.
It's better than Sean's easily, and it makes it more charismatic.
It's more interesting. It's more interesting. It's more unique, but it's not like great. We don't consider Kanye's rap voice to be like, when we're having our rap voice conversations, his name never comes up.
No, I think that's one of his strengths, because how he enunciates certain things and the nuances and how he says them. Like, people love that. It's very, even if the bar isn't that dope, the voice and way he delivers it makes it real quote worthy, if that makes sense.
But isn't that more cadence though?
Yeah, but stylistic,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The voice is your voice is an instrument too, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, just like one of I'm gonna use this as an example. And we could spin back to Late Registration, because it had an anniversary the other day, but after we finish up his Sean. But one of my favorite songs on there is Late, I'll be late for that. Like, just how he, you know what I mean? How he enunciates certain things. It's just real swaggy how he does it. You know what I mean? So
Sean actually does a lot of those same things. His voice isn't as good as Kanye's, but Kanye's voice.
Yeah, he's not pulling it off as well,
Right?
So
that's because his voice isn't as good, but Kanye doesn't have a great rap voice either. So that's saying something about Sean.
Not a classic one.
Not a classic one. No.
But on this, Sean, what do y'all give it mic rating wise?
Yeah, what is Hip Hop Talks giving Big Sean's latest effort?
But would y'all agree this is his best project, or y'all disagree with that?
I gotta see what, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I gotta see if I got the legs. I don't know if this album has the legs.
I think there's some replayability factor on some joints. I do feel like this album might be his most consistent project, but I don't know if it has some of the highs of some of his other projects. But my overall take of it is that it's comparable rating wise to most of his other projects.
It's not far away better, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, what is Hip Hop Talks rating this?
Real quick before I get a mic rating, it was dope to see Primo make another appearance on some scratches. Hit Boy did the beat on that joint. Million Pieces. It got Tiana Taylor singing the bridge. She killed that, in my opinion. But Primo did the scratches. That was pretty dope to hear. Kind of like, Wave Gods esque, where Hit Boy does the beat and Primo comes through with the scratches. But I'll give it a 3.5. Maybe a 3.75 if we doing quarters.
I can live with a 3.5.
I'm with the 3.5. I'm not with the 3.75.
Yeah, I can live with the 3.5. And that's crazy because we all thought this was going to be that one.
Got to require more.
I still think it's better than Might Delete Later, though.
That can be conversational depending on like replay value and has this cold thing, I guess. Well, I mean, it hasn't like all the way blown over.
I think it's comparable. I'm trying to remember in my head our list that we did. I would think it's comparable up there with the Gunna album.
I don't.
You don't think?
No, I can't. I'm not a fan like that, but I can't.
And then we get a Gunna like a 4 or 3.75.
think we did. Then we
I
gave
think it was
Gunna.
a 375 because that's where I'm at with Deshaun, like a 375.
Yeah, that's why I'm. Yeah, I would say it's a step below the Gunna. So yeah, 3.
I agree. I think 3.5 is a nice one for him. And again, this is after what 24 hours of really diving into this album and just
Yeah,
really,
but
you know,
that's right though, because y'all wasn't as impressed with it as I was. So a 3.5, from y'all's perspective, is more fair than me just being a quarter up. That's I
No,
think that's fair.
no, I. It's not that I'm not impressed, AG. It's that objectively he just didn't really do anything that he hadn't already done before. Like this didn't move. This didn't move his placement. This didn't make this album isn't making us talk about his placement on different terms and in a different
No,
way.
not at all. Not at all.
for me, it puts it on.
Like listen, that's what I want for him.
Mhm.
Right,
Like I want that for him as an artist to get that notoriety and that shine.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Especially when
the
everything
album
is out of
like
forward.
like it. This I was hoping this album for him was going to be the album where it was like, were we wrong for not putting him in a big 3 or 4 or 5? Like,
Right.
were we wrong for
That's
leaving him out? Are we
that's
wrong? Supposed to make us feel guilty with this album.
I see. Yeah, this album doesn't do that because that third
And,
spot is for the taking.
and,
With Cole falling from grace.
and,
With the
and
apology, but he didn't do that.
and the last talk about the versatility of the album. When I think of versatility on an album, it's like that's fine. If you're gonna do it, then do it. But if you're gonna do it, life after death is the barometer of it, of how I gauge things. That's the 10 on the scale of versatility on one rap album while making it sound cohesive.
I agree.
And
yeah.
so when you're gonna be versatile, understand the bar is Biggie on Life After Death. That's your 10. And so when I'm telling you, although I like the versatility, a lot of 6, a lot of 7, some 8s in there, that's why I'm saying that.
Right.
Because big is the bar on versatility on an album where when you're gonna like approach an album the way that Sean just did and try to make it a point to make versatility one of the things like Big did on Life After Death, like Big wanted to show you that he could do everything at the highest level.
Yes.
And if you're gonna make an album and that's gonna be part of the ethos to it, so to speak, then Big is the bar, and Life After Death is the bar. And so although the versatility, like hearing it, is nice, if we're gonna rate him on a high level and rate him on a fair level and rate him on the level that he says that he's at, then yeah, this would be like, and for versatility, I would give it about a 7.
And that's a great point, Cool. And I think if I were to add a layer to what you have there, I look at it like this: there's certain albums where it's your time because of what happened before that album. You think about Stillmatic, the things that happened before Stillmatic. It was that time to have an album like Stillmatic. You think about the Machiavelli album. There were certain things that happened before Machiavelli album that made Machiavelli that album, right? Because now you're talking about certain things, trials, tribulations, setbacks, or whatever the case may be. It was that time to show and prove when you're back against the wall. Like Nas said, the best artists are the ones who actually have their emotions on their sleeve or whatever, right? This was his time. The artist that truly suffers, his stuff is the best. That's what I'm trying to get at. What he said on Life is Good album. This was Sean's time to show that, right? If you think about when some of your best artists that have their back against the wall, when they were counted out or where they weren't getting the love and adoration that they should have been getting, they cranked out their best stuff. Even for you guys, think about the times when you had the most success in anything. It's when you felt like I was counted out. I gotta come. I'm laser focused now.
I feel I felt tried this year. That's why a
Yeah.
lot of things have happened. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's a very insightful point. When you said that, Sean, I had an epiphany. I think part of the issue may be that because rap is such an adversity-driven climate, not in a negative way necessarily either.
Right.
Like the adversity strikes you all types of ways. Sean's never been under any real type of adversity in this business.
Not a whole lot of pressure. Yeah.
And so it hasn't been any of those lows to make him rise to Stillmatic level. You get what I'm saying?
Until
Like,
now,
So
because the big three kept stepping on, not the big three, but the Kendrick and Drake things stepped on his rollout. So to y'all's point, you're right. This was the time to really come through and kick the door in.
But that was to quote Malcolm X: "Chickens coming home to roost" from all the years of not, making himself just as viable a candidate for these people's attention.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And this was the time. Everything was the table was set.
No, he did get steamrolled by the biggest battle of this generation. But
Yeah.
had he been a large enough figure in this space, it wouldn't have mattered as much. Like when like Jay and Nas beefing didn't affect DMX. DMX affected DMX.
Right.
I'm
You feel
thinking.
me?
Well, DMX wasn't really dropped. Well, he was.
No. Great Depression.
That was 01. Great Depression
That was.
best.
Yeah, that wasn't his best work. But
Yeah.
Eminem is an example because,
But it
like,
still did 3 mil though, guys. That's what I'm saying. It still did 3 million in the midst of that beef.
Yeah, it did. He was. But
X was a number. X was a
That's what I
numbers.
mean. Like, if the other two big figures are like beefing and it has everybody captivated, but it's still gonna sell. I'm still gonna go triple platinum with a less than stellar effort than the first two.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Sean should have set himself up to be DMX in that regard. It's like, well, it really don't matter what happened in this climate. I'm gonna do numbers no matter how good my album is or isn't, and no matter who's beefing or not beefing. That's how nice X was.
Mm-hmm.
We got some super chats, Phil. We got a few. Appreciate y'all with the super chats on the Saturday. Appreciate y'all. Let's go.
Brandon Rogers with the $10 super chat. Appreciate it. What are your top 5 rap voices in hip hop? Off top, I have Snoop, Rakim as 2 of mine. Also, I'll give Big Sean a 3.5. Appreciate it. Y'all want to touch on the best rap voices real quick?
We get all the super chats real quick and then come back and answer all. Okay.
Chosen with the $5 super chat said, "What makes Cole last 4 albums better than Sean's? Because I don't think Cole catalog is better than Sean's." I think it's better. I think Cole's is better, but MJ with the $5 super chat. Does Sean have a better album than Reasonable Drought? Reasonable Drought's hard. No, I don't think so.
Personally,
Stove Guy's joint is crazy. We need another one of those. Brandon Rogers with the $10 super chat.
That's all. I'm just going back.
Okay, gotcha.
First one, so y'all can answer that one.
Top 5.
Top 5.
Biggie, Pac, Method Man.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck D.
That's a good one.
I can't stand Chuck D voice. I ain't gonna lie. Peace in your face. I'm kidding. I should say that. Chuck D, a legend. Let me chill out. Peace in your face.
Sean Wild, man.
Slick Rick.
Man, that's wild.
Slick Rick is a good one.
He's a legend.
I'm gonna go. I agree with your first 3 for sure, Coop. Meth in no particular order. Method Man, Pac, Biggie. I'm gonna probably say Nas and Jadakiss are my other 2.
I was thinking about putting Nas in there. I would probably have Nas at 6 or 7.
Yeah. I was wanting to maybe put Cube in there, but I have him at about 6 or 7. But Jadakiss and Nas are in my top 5.
Cube is up there. Rakim is up there for me.
Oh, damn. No, I forgot P.
KRS.
Prodigy's up there.
Prodigy's up there. Yeah.
Okay, so when we're rating rap voice, we also got to think about the duration and how long that rap voice that we value and cater to so much was like intact.
That's tough.
I'm gonna keep my 5. I'm gonna go with Coop's 3 and then add on Nas and Jada, because as long as they've been in the game, their voices still sound pristine like when they first started rapping.
Give me Slick Rick and Chuck D. Yeah.
Who you got, Sean?
I would take away Chuck D, respectfully. And Slick Rick. I put Snoop up there. Snoop voice to me is one of the smoothest voices of hip hop. Of course, Nas. That's being biased. Big.
Baritone.
Ghostface. I just love Ghostface voice, man. Early Ghostface. Yeah. But the coolest point.
Not on this last album though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the coolest point. Like this, the longevity of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Rakim. That's a standard.
I love Ray's rap voice too, man. Ray's got a great rap voice.
He would be top 10.
Smooth, very smooth rap voice.
Yeah.
It still sounds the same.
And it's effortless. And it's effortless. But that's how he's taught. Like it's effortlessly when he's spitting. So that'll be mine. That'll be mine. I like
Yep.
Cube's too. Cube's, when you hear Cube's voice, it's just so West Coast. Just so West Coast. Representation properly understood.
Yeah, if you combine our list, we got a solid 10 for sure.
Absolutely. So this was the other super chat from Chosen.
Yeah, I don't think it's even a conversation that Cole's catalog is better than Sean's. I don't even think that's up for debate. But this last album I like a little bit better than Might Delete Later.
And MJ, we already answered that pretty much. Is it better than Reasonable Drought?
Nope.
I hold Reasonable Drought at very high. I'm not gonna lie, fellas. I hold it very high. Very high.
0.25.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, 4.25.
I might give it a 4.5, man. Reasonable Drought's crazy.
Holding up very well. It's holding up very well.
The hooks and the bars, the beats.
It's been a minute. I mean, he had rock.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And shout out to Coop, man, because Coop was talking about it so much at that point. I had to go check it out. I don't think I would have ever gotten to it if Coop wasn't talking about it a lot. Which I was like, man, that's the way he's talking about it. I need to go and see what's going on with this album. And I just turn it off.
Look here. You ever have that moment where you just become a fan of somebody?
Yes.
When Break the Pyrex comes on, that's the moment where I became a fan. Like, I was loving the album. When Break the Pyrex comes on and he starts going in, I'm like, get this guy.
Yeah. But we'd be remiss. We're talking about dope rap voices. Like, Stove Guy's joint is crazy, man.
Stove's got a great voice.
It just is, man. We can have a show. We got to get Stove out on the show, man.
That would be dope.
His ad libs are very Busta Rhymes like. Like, his hook game is very Method Man like, but his ad libs are very Busta Rhymes like.
But Coop really came from that camp. He came. That's where he started out.
Yeah. Sure did.
That camp, under that Busta Rhymes camp. He was with that Flip Mode camp back in the day.
Well, I mean, of course, because with Rock.
Yeah. He was with those guys. That's where he started out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jadarian, I haven't listened to that new Stove yet, man. I can't find it. Y'all, I know you guys in the Discord. I couldn't find it.
New Stove what? We got new Stove?
It said new Stove is out there. I can't find it.
Is it a single?
Is it a single? They say it's an EP or something like that. I can't find it. I Googled everything. I can't find it.
Somebody send us a link before we get out. We're gonna do a brief late registration talk and then slide out of here, fellas.
A little bit of time.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, my personal favorite Kanye album.
Hold on, though. Somebody put that link up for that Stove, though.
Yeah. Put that up. Put that link up. Put it in the Discord. Y'all have it, and I'll share it with the fellas. Yeah, I see that, Trike. Appreciate you, bro. He says it's on an app. Yeah, send that. Put it in the Discord. We'll pull it from the Discord.
Right, no doubt.
Send me a link, please.
No doubt. I got you, Coop. As soon as they send it to us, we get it to you.
I'm gonna jump in the Discord. It's okay.
Yeah, but real quick, so we ain't holding Sean up, man. Late registration. My personal favorite Kanye album. It might not objectively be his best. I think that belongs to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but Late Reg will always be my favorite. What John Bryan added to Kanye's production can't be understated. I think that album is so lush, and all the tracks just sound beautiful, man. And I think that was the one where he really stepped it up as a rapper, because College Dropout to me sounded like a producer making a compilation with all the dopest rappers. Like, he was outmatched on every song he was on, and you could tell he was still rough around the edges, but all the beats were there and the features were there. But to me, Late Registration sounds like his album and not a compilation. And, I always love that album, and it'll be my personal favorite. So, that's dope that it just had an anniversary. Probably spend that later today.
And it came out in 2005 was a sneaky good year for hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in the middle of all of that. And I've always looked at this album as the bridge between Nas and Jay after the beef. I've always felt this album was that, because you got We Major on it, and then he had Diamonds before it, and then We Major came on after it, sequence wise.
Right.
And I was like, I remember 2005. I was like, I think Nas and Jay about to patch this thing up real soon.
That was tough. If you remember, sorry to cut you off, but if you remember, you might have read it was an article floating around. I think MTV reported it, where Kanye said that "We Major" was Jay's favorite song on the album.
He
And
did.
then when the album dropped, it's that extra space at the end of the record, because the song's like, crazy long.
Yeah.
When it was playing, I thought Jay was going to be on it because that interview was before, the official record came out. But I was disappointed when Jay wasn't on the end of the record because I thought that was going to be the collab.
Yeah.
Nas and Jay on We Major would have been major.
It would have been. In 05, yeah.
That would have been absurd. I'm cool with Kanye being alone on Diamonds if you're giving me Jay and Nas with Ye on We Major.
That might be Jay's best feature, though. One of them.
Think so? I don't think so.
It's top 5.
Oh, no, not for me.
Nah, he got so many.
I think it's up there. I got that. Seen It All. Go Crazy. It's up there.
Yeah, we got totally different Jay top 5 verses, like totally different.
You got Seen It All up there?
For features? Yeah.
Seen It All is dope, but no. Not, I mean, just for me, no.
Yeah. Not verses altogether. I'm talking about features specifically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like even features.
The Maya joint, that's up there for me.
Yeah.
I think.
Sean, you don't like Jay anyway, so stop.
Jay, I like Jay.
He don't.
It's top 10 for me.
I echo some of your sentiments, AG. This is my favorite Kanye piece of work. I realized when you were speaking, if we're just talking about the music itself, I still feel like this is his best album. I think he has more impactful albums than this album. It feels like the albums, I feel like Graduation inspired a whole style of production from a generation. I feel like College Dropout birthed a whole rapper, and I feel like his big moments that have crossed him over are on those on those 2 records, the first and the third. But I feel like he's in such a rare sweet spot, and the real version of Kanye is on Late Registration. I feel like Late Registration is the Kanye West that becomes this superstar. Like this is when it happens. And I think that's as much of him as we've ever gotten. I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is close, but I also think he's closer to the ledge by then. This is Kanye.
That's a fact.
This is Kanye. Like this is Kanye when Kanye is Kanye.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I mean when I'm saying this is when Kanye is Kanye. I think this is the best sequenced album of all his projects. That's part of what makes it the best.
I 1,000% agree.
Sequencing of this album is a flawless victory. It is literally perfect from end to end in terms of how these songs are put together, the order that they go in, how it flows, how it sounds stylistically. I also feel like beat-wise and production-wise, and yeah, people will know who John Bryan Apple is. John Bryan worked with Fiona Apple and countless others. I feel like that's where Kanye, I've always told people, John Bryan gave Kanye his stadium flow on Late Registration.
He did.
Graduation sounds the way that it sounds because of the time spent with John Bryan making Late Registration. So in a lot of ways, this album's maybe not impactful to the culture, but impactful to the phenomenon that is Kanye. Because this is when he becomes a superstar. And the time with John Bryan is when he started getting his stadium flow on, which really just kind of like took him, quite frankly, places that very few people have been except like, Snoop, Jay, you know what I'm saying? It put him in the highest of tiers forever. And this album is the album with that. My favorite Kanye song ever might be Roses, and it's on this album. That's Kanye to me. Roses is Kanye. That's the Kanye that I want to remember. Just kind of like, I don't want, like, as much as I love Death Row Tupac, it's like, that's not the guy that I want to remember, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Roses is my second favorite, Coop. That's a strong record.
Yeah, Roses, Drive Slow, Heard 'Em Say.
Crack Music. Heard 'Em Say made me an Adam Levine fan. I was checking for Maroon 5 after that. Word.
Yeah. We Major.
Yeah.
Gone. Y'all like Gone?
The joint with Brandy. what's the name of the joint? Hold Me Down. Yeah, that joint tough.
Yeah.
The joint with Cam Gone. Yeah.
Gone. Yeah,
Late.
Gone is dope. I'm a big fan of Gone. I like Late. Late's my shit.
I love Late. Let me ask y'all both a question before we slide. This is kind of a random question, but I think it's a legit debate. For a producer crafting a whole body of work, well, I think Just Blaze did Touch the Sky, but a producer crafting a whole body of work, 2 classics in the same year, how would you rank Kanye doing Late Reg and B in the same year, RZA doing Liquid Swords and Cuban Links the same year, and Hit Boy doing Magic 1 and KD3 in the same year?
Okay.
How would y'all rank those?
That's tough, and I wish you didn't ask that question. I don't like that
That's
question.
what I'm here for.
I don't like that question because what RZA did is remarkable, man. Like it's man, that's tough, man.
What you got, Coop? Sean's still thinking.
It's like picking your favorite child. Like honestly, it's like picking your favorite child. Like, would you pick Jordan over your little girl?
Oh man, they both watching. Nah, I'm joking. I love my kids equally, man.
Hard question. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They right upstairs now. I almost say the wrong thing.
Who picked between one of his girls that he,
Yo, that's wild that you do.
At the airport versus the one at the bar.
But you know what I'm saying?
I'm joking.
Coop, let's let Sean stop talking. What do you got, Coop? How would you rank those 3 producer performances?
Hold on. Which ones did you name? You talking about Kanye in 05 with B?
And Late Registration.
Late Registration.
Hit in 2021 with Magic 1 and KD3. And then RZA with Cuban Link and Liquid Swords in 95.
That's crazy.
In the order that they happen. RZA.
Kanye Hit.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Because Dirty came out in 95 too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if we're just talking about 2 albums, I mean, that RZA's just over the top in 95. Like,
RZA's crazy.
It's crazy.
You know, the 1995, like, RZA season is like the 87, 88 Jordan season. It's like, 37 points, 3,000 points in a season.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive player, 6 rebounds, 6
dunk contest,
2 blocks, 2.5 steals.
Yeah.
You know, just domination on every single level at every turn. Pretty much without shooting a 3-point shot. He averaged 37 points. He barely shot a 3-pointer.
Absolutely.
He'd average 55 points today.
Yeah, easily. And there are fewer skips between those albums as well. You think about what RZA did with Liquid Swords and Cuban Link versus what Kanye had.
I mean, Cuban Link and Liquid Swords don't have skips. That would be the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And where are you going to find a skip on Cuban Link?
And both that's a little unfair because both of those are total RZA productions, and then the B also had Dilla tracks on it too. But I'm just talking about a majority body work, and Hit, of course, did all of KD3 and Magic 1. But on the Kanye production side of things, I think Just Blaze did Touch the Sky on Late Registration, and then Dilla had 2 joints on B. So, but yeah, it was just a question that popped across my mind.
It's all RZA, everything RZA. Made the album.
The GOAT producer of all time. We still gonna do that battle.
The GOAT producer of all time. Yeah, no doubt.
That's gonna drop an orchestra album. Yo, we gonna do a versus too. RZA's orchestra joint versus 3 Stacks flute album. Ooh. I'm picking RZA.
Matter of fact, did you see that 3 Stacks video? He actually did a video for the flute album. Did you see it?
Yo, let's go, man. We don't want to trigger Coop before we leave, man.
Like a freaking storm going on right now, so we can't go just yet. I want to get Coop's thought because Coop didn't say anything about it. He's being quiet about it, being shy about it, he's being all coy about it. But he did drop a video. The video had him standing up, sitting down, laying down as he was playing a flute. And Coop didn't mention it to us. He mentioned everything else in the world. He can talk about everything, all the things, pun intended, but he don't want to talk about the flute video.
That was not in the chat.
It was not in the chat. So I want to know who talk about all the things. Got a Tokyo shirt on today, you know what I mean?
I'm international.
International. He can talk international. We can't talk about the Snoop video. Dude was sitting up, standing down. He was laying down, got up again, look in the refrigerator, look outside. That was the whole video.
I haven't even seen it. The fact that you watched it is cracking me up.
I was looking at clips, so because I wanted to make sure I was prepared just in case Coop wanted to talk about it. We talk about all the things.
I'm surprised that he didn't play the clip for one.
That's true. That's a fact. That's a fact.
I can't because YouTube tried to screw us over from playing clips on Thursday. Shout out to YouTube. We appreciate y'all for the love.
You the one playing the clip of my man's falling out the chair, yo. That's like
so disrespectful. I have no words for you, really, Sean. You know, I can remember how I feel right now. I think it's how Russell Crowe said he felt like about Robert De Niro, like when he started doing like Meet the Parents and the Fockers and like all that stuff. He's like, "Oh, you're doing that shit now." That's how I feel. It's like, "Oh, you're doing that now. That's what we're doing." It's like, okay, no, Sean, you win. You got it. I literally have nothing to say. There's no comeback. There's nothing that I could do. This was my whole problem with all of this to begin with. Was that?
So does that mean you're not going to check out RZA's orchestra album?
I'm disappointed.
I'll check it out. Everything deserves a listen. I gave the Flute album a chance. It's not good.
As Flute albums go.
Like, I'm disappointed.
I mean, for real, it's what 40-something-year-old black women do Pilates to, and that's okay.
Yeah. You don't think it's better than none of Kenny G's joints?
No. Kenny G is a gangster and a gentleman like Styles P. All right?
Crazy.
Don't you ever disrespect Kenny G like that. Okay?
Yeah. I took it light, man.
And the G is for Green. We're cousins. It wasn't no disrespect.
Yeah, Kenny G, Leroy, AG, Leroy.
Tired of talking to both of you, quite frankly.
I just wanted to get because actually the chat was asking what Coop
the chat was asking.
That's what they said. When Coop talk about the video, I didn't, pardon me.
I've seen the video of him playing the flute. I'm sure what you're saying is true. Unfortunately, it's part of my problem. I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm just saying I have nothing to say about the problem anymore.
I just thought that you was going to give us an example of what that should look like. I thought you was going to give us all the things or not. Honestly, I was going to ask you about that for a segment, because I wanted to hear Coop say the video is good.
What's your mic rating? What's your mic rating on the Flute album, Coop?
1.
Shout out to the city, man. Shout out to
Uno.
1. I think everybody deserves 1 point. They deserve 1 shot. That's what he got.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gets a 1. But if you want to leave here on a high note, we didn't get to talk about the bar seminar on Thursday and why we picked the bar seminar. Since we're on the subject of Andre as we slide out of the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We picked the first verse from Elevators, which has Andre and Big Boy on it. Together. Passing the microphone to each other. Like a duo. Mm-hmm. That is very important because in the midst of its flutist album and all the things that are Andre 3000, there's this continued separation of Andre and Big Boy. Sean, even when you came to me, you were like, isn't Big Boy's AT-Aliens verse probably his best verse and we should use that? And I was like, no, it probably is. Or at least it's his most memorable verse on there. I'm not going to say best, but his most memorable. Mm-hmm. And Andre's most memorable verse is probably Elevators.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to put both of those verses up there. But that would be feeding into the separation. So the reason that I chose Elevators, the first verse, is because it's Andre and Big Boy. And Elevators is their real coming out party nationally. Like they went platinum off Southern Playalistic, but they didn't become a big deal until Elevators. Mm-hmm. And it's important that we remember these guys became a big deal together.
I agree.
And so Andre can sit up and sit down, play the flute.
Yeah.
He can do-si-do.
I'm about to log off.
He can put on a kilt and play the motherfucking bagpipes. Once upon a time, it went one for the money. Yes.
Yo, that's kind of wild. You said that he did have a kilt on in the in the I Choose You.
He
I
did.
mean, the international players anthem joint. You know what I'm
Like I
saying?
was saying, once upon a time, it went one for the money, yes sir, two for the show. A couple of years ago, on Headland and the Low was the start of something good. That's their coming out moment, and they did it together.
He did.
So, you know,
It's unfortunate, but hey, music evolves. I think
not
it's a
into a
beautiful
flute
concept.
album. Not into a flute album, but okay.
Yeah.
That's an album.
LL says somebody got to tell him, B.
Somebody gonna tell him B. Yeah, that's what LL said. And we would matter of fact, we got LL coming pause in about what, a week?
Yeah,
That drops in a week.
September 6th, the
So,
fourth.
so we'll be back here to talk about that too.
It
Look
went
cool.
platinum. The flute
It
album
did.
went platinum
It did. It did. It did. It did.
based on his rap talent, though.
That's it. On his aura,
Based on,
his
based on
legend.
his rap legend. It's based on his rap legend.
That's all
Yeah.
it is. That's
You
all it
too
is.
can have a platinum album if you'll go play the banjo. Apparently, if people think you're talented enough as a rapper, come check out my banjo album. Call it Country Rhythms.
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
RZA's going.
Sean, not yet.
RZA a whole legend
No,
out here, and he ain't going to go platinum off the orchestra album. I can guarantee you that.
Nah.
not a chance.
Maybe not in this genre, but in that.
It's not going to go platinum nowhere. And I love RZA.
He's got an overseas chance.
But
Never
he does have a following
disrespect the
overseas.
Wu-Tang brand.
But I don't feel like this isn't. I feel like this isn't as left field as the Three Stacks Flute album, because RZA's been doing movie scores for quite some time now. So this is actually we making jokes, but this is actually more in his like wheelhouse to what he's been doing over the last, going on 20 years. So
Yep. Yeah.
But has he done it well? Has he done it well? Have we talked about it?
it's some scores that he does is dope. You know what I'm saying? I think so.
No, I'm legitimately asking because I don't.
He did Kill Bill. I think it was the second one. He did the movie that he was in, the man with the iron, was it the Iron Fist or whatever?
Tista.
Yeah, he did that score, and he did a couple other joints here and there. So
did a Ghost Dogs score?
The Ghost Dog score, yeah.
Ghost Dog was the first one. Ghost Dog was the first
one. The first ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I mess with it.
Yeah, RZA always had a good music. Like that's when we got to Wu-Tang Forever, he was already on that type of time.
He brought in the live orchestras, yeah.
Orchestra for Wu-Tang Forever. He changed what it really meant to actually make a beat from organic, like just from the bottom. So that's in his wheelhouse. Not a flute album for Andre. That's not it.
No, but if I'm,
Hold on. First of all, Organized Noise was making beats from scratch before RZA bought that orchestra in on Wu-Tang Forever.
Be as it may, but RZA still made Triumph.
Well, forget all that. If I'm Jay-Z, if I'm Jay-Z, I'm spinning the block, and even though him and Nas is cool now, I'm releasing a Blueprint 2 remix where he said "Unleash the Flutes Guru," because there's no flutes on that album. It's a vocal sample of a lady singing, and I'm doing a remix, and I'm getting 3 stacks to play on the Blueprint 2 song when I say "Unleash the Flutes," and then Andre have a little solo section. That's what I would do.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, I'm ready to go now.
Okay.
I got football to watch.
Hey,
click like and subscribe to our page despite these
like and subscribe.
Despite these two.
Yes.
Peace, y'all.
All the Stacks fans out there, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. Peace. We out.
When the hell did you become poet?